So, next up on Man vs. Pixels, I'm playing Transformers Devastation. This is an action fighting game. It's based on the 80s Transformers cartoon, not the more recent Michael Bay shenanigans. So, it's big on 80s nostalgia. Let me just get this right out of the way though. Just looking now after I've finished it, it's not on the Steam store anymore, and it hasn't been for, I think it came off last year. Apparently the deal between Hasbro, who owns the rights to the Transformers toys and license and everything, and Activision, who make the games, finished last year, and as a result the game's not available on Steam anymore. So if you haven't got it, you won't be able to buy it on Steam. On console or whatever, you might still find a second-hand copy floating about, but unfortunately, yeah, you won't be able to buy it on Steam. But if you do have it, it will still work. If it's in your library already, you will still be able to download, install, and play it. So if it's been sitting in your library for a while, like it has on mine, you might as well give it a play. It's a button mashy sort of combat action game. Although, like with all those button mashes, you can get a bit more technique if you want to actually look at the moves and find out how to do certain things. You end up being able to play multiple characters, all Autobots. Unfortunately, you don't get to play the Decepticons, but you get to play several different Autobots. In fact, you can, after you've done the first few missions and you've unlocked them all, you can pick each one you want to play for any particular mission. There's quite a lot of different weapons, different moves and abilities to level up. It was a bit confusing. There's a lot of things that the game didn't really explain what like different abilities meant and how they affect your combat performance, but it doesn't really matter. Not the lowest skill level I was playing it on anyway. But there is quite a bit to collect, quite a bit to look at on your stat screens. Each sort of part of the game is split up into chapters. Each chapter is comprised of several different missions, and they're all sort of bite-sized chunks. None of them are that big. And as I said, it's identical in style to the 80s cartoon. It's the same animations, the same voices, as far as I could tell too. So if the 80s cartoon is part of your childhood, you're gonna love seeing that. It's like you're playing an episode of the cartoon. To be honest, as the story goes through, you're watching a bit of the cartoon and then you're playing a bit. Then you're watching a bit of the cartoon and then you're playing a bit. So you get to play Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Sideswipe, Wheeljack, and Grimlock. And they all have various different attributes, various different things they're good at, different amounts of health, speed, and that sort of thing. The combat is built around sort of light and heavy attacks, ranged attacks, dodges and parries, specific kind of power moves, and you have like an ultimate meter for an ultimate attack you can do, which is a very powerful attack that you have to build up your ultimate meter to pull off. The maps are quite small and they're a little bit samey, but like I say, it is done in bite-sized chunks, so you do go through the same kind of maps fairly often. As for the actual depth of the combat and the weapons and everything, well, there's lots of things to level up, lots of ways to level up. You can level up your weapons, you can level up tech, which are like enhancements to like your ability. Like you might just give you extra health or give you extra parry chance. You can fit these tech items in tech slots on each of the characters. You can buy new moves. So you start off with the standard moves, and then you can buy new moves that do like maybe some spinning area of effect attacks and stuff like that. And you've got a whole list of abilities, which again weren't particularly well explained, and they just have like 3-letter abbreviations. So wasn't 100% clear to me what each of those did, but you can level them up as well. I'm just not sure what they did. I just pretty much stuck to leveling up the weapons because I could see what that did. Basically, like when you've got a weapon, you can kind of combine it with any new weapon you pick up and it increases its level. I'm sure there's more to it than that as well. It's called synthesis in the game, and I think maybe you can get a bit deeper into that. But basically, yeah, if you've got a weapon you like, you just like combine it with a weapon that you don't want to use, and you keep the weapon you liked, and its level goes up, and that kind of increases its power. So that's pretty much what I just stuck to doing. You get to fight all the major Decepticons. Most of them are all there. Anything you remember from the 80s. There's the Constructicons, the Insecticons. There's Thundercracker, Starscream, Soundwave, Blitzwing, and of course Megatron. So yep, you get to fight all of them at different points throughout the game, and some of them you get to fight more than once. You'd be glad to know Starscream just seems the same voice, same snivelling, whining little little fucker. But I always liked him. But I just love the way Megatron just treats him like a complete dog, and he still does in this. Starscream always gets the bad end of the stick. So it was very easy on the lowest difficulty. I was playing it on Scout, which is the lowest difficulty. There's 2 other higher difficulties you can play it on, but very easy on the lowest difficulty, and overall very enjoyable, especially if the 80s cartoon was part of your childhood. It's very easy to like this game. There's a lot to enjoy. Very easy just to pick up and play on the easiest difficulty level. It's not very punishing. You can just have a good bit of button mashing fun, pretending playing Optimus Prime or a Bumblebee or whatever your favourite Autobot is of the 5 that you get to play anyway. But yeah, unfortunately, not on Steam anymore. So I can't sort of give you an idea of whether or what the price is, or what price to buy it at, or what sale reduction to buy it at, because it ain't there. I will tell you, it took me 6 hours to complete on the lowest difficulty, but there's a lot of replay value there if you're a completist, or if you're a fan. There's lots of like extra side missions, challenge missions to do, and there's the higher difficulties. And I think it can turn into a bit of an item grind as well. You can just keep playing it to try and get more powerful weapons and such. So if you've had it in your library for a while, give it a play. If not, look out for it. It might come back at some point. Someone else might get the license for it, and it might pop up again. But yeah, that's Transformers Devastation.